Good morning, and please take your seats because I'm going to start, and Yanis will join me in a few moments. Good morning and welcome to the 6th International Conference on Shared Parenting in Athens, the most historic and inspiring of world capitals as far as the origins of classical civilization's intellectual ideas are concerned. Athens takes its name from the goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom. And here we are, literally in the shadow of the Acropolis, reflecting on the essential wisdom of shared parenting and the irrefutable truth that children need both parents. My name is Edward Kruk, and as the president of the International Council on Shared Parenting, I have the pleasure of opening the conference and giving you a little glimpse of what lies ahead in the coming days. Whether you're participating in the conference here in person or online from the comfort of your homes, there's really a lot in store for you, and we're delighted to have you with us for the upcoming journey. Now, the International Council on Shared Parenting is the world's leading organization devoted to the study of shared parenting as in the best interests of children and families. Our goals are twofold. First, the advancement of scientific knowledge on the needs and best interests of children whose parents are living apart. And second, to formulate evidence-based recommendations about the legal, judicial, and practical implementation of shared parenting. We've compiled a large body of new research on child and family outcomes in shared parenting families, and we seek to integrate this scientific data into family law and professional practice. Our main accomplishment, I would say, over the years has been the publication of a series of consensus statements about shared parenting as in the best interests of children. We've advanced family law reform around the globe, such as the resolution of the European Council to adopt shared parenting as the foundation of family law in its member states. Now, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, starting with this conference. I would say what is the most unique aspect about our organization is that we bring together three distinct groups in dialogue. First of all, leading scientists in the field of shared parenting who are able to share their current research. Secondly, leading child and family professionals like psychologists, social workers, and family lawyers who specialize in the area of separation. And thirdly, members of civil society who are actively involved in the politics of law reform to establish shared parenting as the foundation of family law. Another unique feature of our council is that we're truly an international organization, more than any other children's rights organization focused on the needs and best interests of children of separation and divorce. I think we really stand out in that regard. For example, we attracted over 1,100 delegates from over 50 countries to our last conference in Vancouver. But this conference is probably our most ambitious to date in regard to the offerings that we will be able to provide. The theme of our conference this year is New Paradigms, Advances in Research and Practice on Shared Parenting. The people here, all of you come from different countries, different cultures, from different professional backgrounds. We have scientists, researchers, child and family professionals, and members of civil society concerned with children's rights who will be presenting and discussing their latest research findings. We're offering a wide variety of formats in our presentations, including 7 keynote speeches, over 60 workshop presentations on research and best practice, panel discussions, and roundtable discussions. So I invite you to have a really close look at the full conference program and think carefully about the many choices on offer. Before we embark on the conference itself, I'd like to offer just a historical account of the first 10 years of the ICSP and a very short summary of our 5 international conferences. So our first conference was held in Bonn in 2014. The theme of that conference was bridging the gap between empirical evidence and socio-legal practice. We came up with 6 consensus statements or conclusions, and I'll only share one. The first one was, there's consensus that neither the discretionary best interest of the child standard nor sole custody or primary residence orders are serving the needs of children and families of divorce. There's consensus that shared parenting is a viable post-divorce arrangement that is optimal to child development and well-being, including for children of high conflict parents. The amount of shared parenting time necessary to achieve child well-being and positive outcomes is a minimum of 1/3 time with each parent, with additional benefits accruing up to and including equal 50-50 parenting time, including both weekday and weekend time, both routine and leisure time. That was sort of just the first of 6 conclusions of our first conference. Our second conference was also held in Bonn in 2015. The theme of that conference was best practices for the legislative and psychosocial implementation of shared parenting. And we ended with 7 conclusions, including this one. As shared parenting encompasses both shared parental authority or decision-making and shared parental responsibility for the day-to-day upbringing and welfare of children between fathers and mothers, in keeping with children's age and stage of development, there's consensus that the legal implementation of shared parenting, including both the assumption of shared responsibility and presumption of shared rights in regard to parenting of children by fathers and mothers who are living together or apart, be enshrined in law. Our third conference in Boston took place in 2017. Specifically, then it was asked, have we reached the point where we can conclude with confidence that the best interests of children are commensurate with the rebuttable legal presumption of shared parenting for children and families? Are we at a point where the scientific evidence points in the direction of mandating that shared parenting becomes the foundation of family law? Well, the answer to these questions was distilled by Dr. Sanford Braver at the conclusion of the conference, and I quote, "On the basis of the evidence, we've reached the watershed. Social scientists can now cautiously recommend presumptive shared parenting to policymakers." He further added, "Shared parenting now has enough evidence that the burden of proof should fall to those who oppose it rather than those who promote it." Our fourth conference in Strasbourg in 2018, under the patronage of the Council of Europe, took this further, calling upon the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, governments and professional associations to identify shared parenting as a fundamental right of the child. And finally, our fifth international conference took place in Vancouver in 2020, drawing close to 1,200 participants from 50 countries under the theme, "The Intersection of Shared Parenting and Family Violence." The 7 conclusions of this conference were divided into recommendations for theoretical development and further research on the one hand, and law reform, policy, and professional practice on the other. It was affirmed that shared parenting is a viable post-divorce parenting arrangement that is optimal to child development and well-being, including for children of high conflict parents. It was recognized that shared parenting serves as a bulwark against first-time family violence. We thus supported rebuttable presumption of shared parenting in contested cases of child custody as the foundation for family law reform. At the same time, however, we achieved a consensus that shared parenting is an optimal arrangement for the majority of children and families, including high conflict families, but not to situations of substantiated family violence and child abuse. We thus supported a rebuttable legal presumption against shared parenting in family violence cases. And now we've come full circle and return to the theme of our first conference, focused on bridging the gap between empirical evidence and socio-legal practice on shared parenting. As with our first conference, this conference aims to encourage international reflection on recent advances and approaches in research and practice. And I'm very much looking forward to meeting all of you over the next 2 days. But mostly I'm really excited about and looking forward to an open dialogue among our scientists, family practitioners, and civil society members, and among delegates from countries around the globe. Because, well, dialogue provides the best opportunity for transformation. Dialogue is actually an encounter with something redemptive. And when we consider the profound harms that have befallen children of separation and divorce, nothing short of redemption, I think, will do. So a few words about today's schedule. We have 4 plenary sessions and a total of 9 workshop sessions. For the workshop sessions, there will be 3 time slots, and you'll be able to choose one of 3 parallel sessions for each time slot. The 4 plenaries will be held in this room as follows. I'll begin with a presentation of a new paradigm for the determination of the best interest of the child in divorce proceeding, a responsibility-based approach, which I'll start with in a few minutes. Our second plenary today will feature Pedro de Figueiredo from Portugal on the judicial application of shared parenting in high conflict cases. The third plenary will be presented by Brian Ludmer of Canada, who will discuss the interplay of law, science, and politics and family law reform. And the fourth and final plenary today will be presented by Rafaela Halekmi from Estonia on bird's nest co-parenting arrangements, a child-centered approach to shared parenting. As far as the workshop sessions are concerned, we'll have 3 workshop sessions today on international comparisons in shared parenting legislation, featuring 15 speakers. We'll have 1 workshop session on child and family-friendly justice, featuring 3 speakers. We'll have 3 workshop sessions on best practices in child and family-friendly mental health intervention, featuring 16 speakers. And we'll have 2 workshop sessions on the experiences of children and families affected by family violence and parental alienation, featuring 9 speakers. So it's a very full program. And one final thing is that this year we're doing something a little bit different to what we've done in the past in regard to the conference conclusions, which will be presented at the end of the conference. Rather than the scientific co-chairs taking full responsibility for drafting the conclusions, we're asking each plenary presenter and each workshop chair to provide us with one key takeaway from their session, which we'll present to all of you at the end of the conference. So a quick reminder to all of today's plenary presenters and workshop chairs, please forward to me one brief conclusion from your session by the end of today. And I'll now turn it over to Yanis Paparigopoulos. Yanis, are you here?